How about you puff me from the back and use my balls as a dessert, bub?
It's the Catechin.
No. We're not doing that today. It was gluten free. Yeah, no buns.
Hey, it's me, your buddy Ben.
Today's episode is brought to you by the premier app for discreetly meeting local skaters in your area, Grindr.
Colin Chandler 1-for-1 on long twos.
Some would say the heir to the Kawhi Leonard throne, Colin Chandler.
Are you calling him a White Claw?
What a great name.
Are you a skateboarder looking to connect with other skaters nearby? Then check out Grindr, the app that helps you discreetly meet fellow skaters. Whether you're searching for a truck stop, rest stop, or a back alley to perfect your tricks, Grindr helps you find the perfect spot to meet up with like-minded skaters.
Love to blow that 10 into 15 into 20 and really feel comfortable watching it.
Like the what?
What?
You'd like to what?
Blow that 10-point lead into a 15 lead or a 20-point lead. But
Ray, what do you think? Are you blowing 10s or?
If I'm lucky, yeah.
Single skaters, jacked skaters, down for whatever skaters, you name it. And let me tell you, this app is legit. Just ask my girlfriend. Now she's totally on board and has agreed not to ask me about it anymore. I'm connecting with skaters all over the place. So pull out your skateboard, whether it's in your garage, attic, or buried deeply in your closet. Download Grindr today. Start connecting with your local skate community, because sometimes the best rides are the ones you share.
And honestly, I thought we went through the back door way too many times. Like, I feel like I should, on that type of offense.
Can you go to the back door too much?
You certainly can, depending on, a variety of circumstances, actually.
Experience, mostly, yeah.
Preparation, before.
Yeah, the preparation ritual to go to the back door is significant.
48-hour notice is what I've. Is what
that's what I tell my wife.
The Troy game, loved it. Huge for me. My wife's boyfriend's name is Troy, so when he was picking her up to take her out on Friday night, she'll be back in the morning. I was just like, "You guys are going down tonight," and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I was playing Troy." He was like, "I went to Brown." I was like, "I didn't know you went to an HBCU."
Another one.
It's the Catechin. Kentucky got a whole bunch of new players. They're long. They're strong. They're down to get the friction on. Fellas, how we feeling?
Pretty damn good, man. A lot better than, I felt fine the whole time, but like the fact that we got some dudes, and not just some dudes, but probably the biggest get in, this short Pope era so far. JQ on his way back. We got to love it. Feeling great.
Yeah, I feel good. I'm happy that people aren't actively dooming every second now. It's amazing how quickly that switch flips from, oh shit, we don't have anybody, to now we have most of a class. We have as many guys as we had on the team last year already. And now other teams are like, man, we haven't added anyone yet. So feel great, like these guys. Happy to see them play next year.
RIP to the Mark Pope, another Mark Pope whiff narrative that was forming for a day and a half.
Holy shit.
Including in our own comment section. And we know who you are, and we're very disappointed. But a lot of the good gets, a lot of guys with still a lot of potential to reach. We've talked about Cam Williams. I'm sure we will again tonight. Mm-hmm. But JQ, the difference between the get this year and last year's transfer class is, one, you had to build from scratch. But two, we still have players that haven't reached, what in the world, their full, whatever, I'm blurring myself out, that haven't reached their full potential yet and can still actually grow and get better by the time that March comes around. I feel like the blurring is really undercutting a good point by myself. And we're back.
We're back.
So you have players like JQ. You have players like Cam who can still grow throughout the season and really come into their own come March. And it's less of a ceiling on next year's team the way it's looking right now.
To be honest, like if you look, like I know we were just talking about how I'm still not impressed with Florida. I know they won the title, like props, whatever. Good job, Golden. I'm glad you made it past the Sweet 16. Seemed to be a real hurdle for you. But I feel like we were right there last year when healthy, and this you get guys like JQ and I mean, damn, bro, like this is legit. Like and a lot of people worrying about his ACL. ACL is nothing anymore. It's not what it used to be. It's a 6-month injury. He'll be all right. He'll be ready to play.
Back from Achilles tears and playing in the NFL, or you have Kevin Durant.
Exactly. Yeah. ACL was what the Achilles is. ACL even 6 years ago, the ACL was like more devastating than it is now. Like it's way improved. What was that name? I'm not going to ask, but somebody says this BG part of the plan still. For now, I think, right? Like I don't know what is going to transpire, but you get a guy like JQ. I know there's a lot of, and I love me some BG, but you got to be honest with yourself when you have a chance to take a guy like JQ, whatever that's going to do to the rest of the roster, you take that guy, especially in this offense. I mean, do you guys think there's a better pickup we could have had? I don't at this point.
I'd like to add one more, maybe for some versatility between the 4-5 is good. But I think the nice thing about these three is that, and then we did it a couple of times this year. I think BG can defend the 4. I think JQ can also sort of play either of those positions. So to some extent, they can play next to each other. So I think that's helpful. But I do think it'd be nice to just have a little more than 3 big men going into SEC play. As physical as it was, the way that fouls are drawn, I mean, I think you need more than 3.
Okay, real quick. Travis Perry's not entering the portal. Just to address that really quickly. My guy's on a 4-year plan. He's not going anywhere. That kid's Kentucky through and through. Like, I'd be less surprised if I woke up with my head thumped the carpet than if that kid was in the transfer portal. So just, no, he's not going anywhere. Western has been after him. Okay. I bet they've been after him for a long time. Western's got a lot of high hopes, I'm sure. Not going to get him.
Also,
for future
Yates,
people who are watching that aren't seeing the live stream, just adding some context there. That's all.
The chat replays with the video, so they'll be all right, I promise. But I appreciate
Yates
you
going to
putting on screen.
Washington. It sounds like it. Sounds like at least the Washington people feel pretty confident there. So I'll say probably. I don't know.
They didn't make the Big Ten tournament with the Mountain West Player of the Year, so I don't know how much I trust their confidence, but that's fine.
I mentioned to someone earlier, every time I see confident insiders from other schools, I think about how often our own insiders are wrong and think, oh, well, maybe it's just that too. And that's very much not always the case, but I'll give up when I see that when it's done.
Shout out to Lando, day one. We love Lando on this show.
Big day.
You guys think we need a wing, shooter, scorer? Curious on y'all's thoughts. I mean, I do. That seems to be what we're the only missing piece is someone to sort of fill that Kobe Bryant role. I think that where we are right now, we can just sort of sit back and pick our spot.
Mm-hmm.
If that might not even be somebody in the portal right now, that could be somebody who's testing the NBA draft waters that we can just sort of sit back and be like, all right, that's our guy. If it's, I love Yates. I'd like a couple of the other guys that are in the portal right now. I'd still take a look at a Pierre.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just about finding the correct fit for this team, and we don't have to get desperate.
I think off a fit, like you mentioned, one thing to keep in mind, like just as a PSA almost, is like just because guys did certain things on certain teams, like you can't. It's not an exact science, right? Like a guy like I trust Pope in his ability to build a team, put guys together. They're going to play well together. They're going to get along. One thing you never saw is any dissension really amongst the players last year. I don't think I saw it very much at all, if anything. And you see that on almost every sideline. And really, it was just guys. Even Kirk Kriisa was done. The Gonzaga game, and that guy was the vibes coordinator the rest of the year. Biggest guy. And so I really think if because there's truthfully like, hey, what was JQ's big issues like last time around the recruitment? It was a whole lot of prima donna like superstardom, right? Like at least from what I understand, it was. I mean, shit, when you're 16 years old and that good, I get it, I guess. But I think if Pope takes a guy and gets him in here, just I feel like he knows well enough about the kid's character and like how we'll fit that he can make it work. So I know there's some question marks on some of the guys with how whether it be low with Pitt last year, or just whatever, like how they performed or how the teams performed. I really think it's kind of irrelevant if Pope sees it, because they're talking to everybody, they're looking at everybody, and so when they get they sign a guy, like I feel really confident in their ability to be able to scout that better than myself.
Another thing, sort of, someone said, "Welcome to the NIL bag chaser days." This year, so I guess Pope has seemingly retained 5 out of the potential 6 guys, and the other being Krisa, who I think everyone agrees there wasn't really, yeah, if you want to spend your last year in college being the 11th, 12th man, great. I don't think he wanted that. I think it was sort of a mutual parting of ways. Well, if you look at the guys we've picked up so far, 2 of them are sophomores, 2 of them are freshmen this year. So to the extent we can keep that retention going, and maybe we don't. I mean, maybe we lose a couple. Keeping 5 out of 6 is crazy in this day and age. But we're building something. I think that the national champions the past couple of years have proven that what really makes a team tick in the modern era are old, experienced guards who can switch everything. And that's what we have. And especially as they develop for a couple of years, I think that'll be huge for us.
I think too, also with the developing, there's also a bit of like all in, right? Like look at this team next year. I mean, this is the team to chase number 9. I mean, the team we just really had it in them too. I mean, they beat Duke, they beat Florida. I mean, they had the pieces, but I really think, I mean, we're upgrading on talent. It looks like just
Definitely
in every way we can. So I don't know. Don't let
potential.
Pope get hot. Don't let Pope get hot.
Athleticism, length.
Yep. Length, girth.
I mean, no, I think that as much as we loved this team last year, and as well as Pope got the pieces to fit together, I think this is what we said we wanted to see. We wanted to see what it would look like with him having more time in the portal to go after guys who knew he was bringing to Kentucky.
And he has a proof of concept now, not the
Right.
the trust me bro sell of, hey, look what I did at BYU. This can work here. Now we know that it does in fact work here, and if we're able to get some blue chip talent like a JQ, then I'm very excited to see what he looks like in this system. We do have another interesting question up here. The 5th Beetle, Chilraff, says, do we like the potential Rylan Griffin fit? I feel like this is a big question.
This is a big question for sure.
I don't know that he's my top choice for that spot. Let me see. Let me pull him up real quick. I think he's good. I think he really struggled with Bill Self. This year wasn't his best. But
or anybody on Kansas really this year.
Right.
Including Bill Self.
That's true. But I mean, almost across the board, every one of his stats was worse this year than last year. He went from a 40% shooter to a 33% shooter. His free throw percentage, I mean, I don't know if it was like poor system fit or what. I didn't watch a ton of Kansas, but I think he's better than his stats from this year look. That said, I don't know what role he wants. I know Alabama's after him to maybe come back. So we'll see. But definitely an option. Don't hate it.
Who would your top pick be, Ben, to fill out the rest of the roster?
Man, I really like Wesley Yates. And it's unfortunate that I think he probably is going to end up in Washington with a family connection. But his shooting just, I think, would fit in great. I mean, it's his catch and shoot was better than Brea's.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking we could hold out for an RJ Luis, or is he too good that he?
No, you're not crazy. Did Jackson not feel that assigned similarly at the very, very end of the portal season after getting all that feedback from the draft? I mean,
I wonder how complicated it would get with the NIL payments of bringing in RJ Luis when we're kind of like looking at Ortega like our guy.
Yeah, just kind of figure it out as you get there. Probably that's like seems to be most of schools NIL. It doesn't work out a lot of the time, but Kentucky got money, so it'll be all right. But I
don't know if I think the biggest issue is NIL, although that may be getting tight for a player like that at this point. I don't know that I think that's the piece we need, as good as he is. That's one of the reasons I really like Yates. I thought that not only is he pretty good, but he also was a really good fit for this hole that we have.
RJ Luis, not really that though, right? Not.
I want someone that can shoot a little bit better.
Okay, it's just a for instance, right? But like, is there other guys that we expect could go to the portal? And the other, so how long do you expect us to wait for? Because we're what, 1 or 2 commitments away from having pretty much the thing figured
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
So, well, yeah. I mean, we're at 12, and at some point you're really.
Is that with
and-
BG?
Yes, yeah. With BG, we're at 12. The 5 returners, 3 freshmen makes 8 plus 4 new guys. And I think at that point you're really like struggling to find minutes for everybody. Not necessarily struggling to find minutes for the new guys you're bringing in, but the more people you add, the less content the people you have are. And as hard as it sounds like Pope worked to get these guys to buy in for another year to focus on this retention, I don't know that we had a ton unless they're like some pretty developmental pieces. Maybe 2 more. Certainly one. I think 1 more for sure. We're moving presumably to 15 scholarships this year. Coaches usually like to leave 1 open anyway. But,
Sure, for late season edition, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, 14 is a lot. Just dividing 200 minutes 14 ways anyway is tough.
So AFIO kind of brought up these are the kind of players Pope couldn't get at BYU, and that's like a really good point. Shout out to Ali Khalifa, but I don't think maybe he redshirts twice. I don't think he wants any part of JQ next year. Just gonna put that out there.
That'd be hilarious to watch.
Well, it's gonna happen if we play them. So, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. And Callie, if we lost BG, who would the ideal replacement be? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of tough. As big of a piece as it seems like we think BG is going to be. It would be kind of. I mean, I'd understand why as we bring in more people, he might feel more pressure to leave. But like, I think that Visar would have been good.
I think BG is a great guy to have on the team. I genuinely don't think that you replace a lot of people are very loyal to the guy. I think that unless he made major strides in year 2, that'd be a tough ask for me to want him over any of the other options we've got in the portal. I mean, look, I'm just being real with you. Like the post game, the rebounding, pretty suspect at times. I know he can shoot the 3 a little bit, but do you think BG's a huge loss if he leaves? Like, is it a big deal to you if he leaves?
It would be for me.
Yeah.
Because of vibes or because of production? Blue goggles off. I
wouldn't necessarily say production. I think you can. I don't know off the top of my head what his points and rebounding stats were for last year. I'm pretty sure you can moneyball your way into finding another BG. But as for what he can be by the end of next season, I really like the player that he can be. I really like,
which is what I guess. I just really got discouraged towards the end of the year when the post footwork didn't develop in the slightest. My favorite tweet of the whole second half of the offseason or the season was, "It's Brandon Garrison time." Signed, Brandon Garrison. And I love that, but also he's trying to win a championship. I mean, again, he's a good dude. He's a good player, but I just think that if you're gonna rely on him for he was kind of a liability at a lot of times last year. In this, I'm not saying he's not a good basketball player. He's a good basketball player, but for what we're trying to accomplish, it's a little tough.
Yeah, I get that. I think a couple things. Like if he wasn't on the team and I was looking at his stats just in a vacuum in the way that I look at other target stats, I don't think I'd sit here and say yes, this is who we need.
You're not pining for him in the portal.
But that's also not what I'm doing. I watched him for a year. I saw him hit some threes. I think that could be a part of his game, and I think in this offense that's really helpful.
Saw him sell on rebounds constantly.
Right. He's not the rebounder I want. But I also think when he played with the rest of the ones, the other sort of starters, he was significantly better.
Do you think that's more of the plus minus effect than it is him actually playing better and just he was covered up a little bit better by better players around him? Because I've seen that argument being made, I just think he's the same player regardless. Watching him individually, regardless of where he's at, maybe he doesn't turn it over as much, but he's still just raw as can be. He's very athletic. Seems like he has some potential. Just seems super, super raw to me.
I think to some extent, yeah. I think that is covered up a little bit more when you're playing with guys that can make up for some of your shortcomings. But also by that same token, if you're not going to give him the benefit of playing with those guys, I don't think you give him the burden of, well, how bad was he when he played with the worst either.
How were the
Put him in the
drop offs
middle.
of the other guys that had to play with the second unit though? Like, was his worse, or was everyone dropping off like that? This is what I'd like to see, because him in a vacuum, like, okay, like sure, he didn't, but there's guys that didn't play the starters all the time that didn't seem to stand out like a sore thumb at times. And again,
Fair.
look, I don't like to be the BG like hater here. I'm not like, I honestly think he has really good potential, but I
I
saw
would-
some really crazy arguments being made against, especially JQ. There
DG
is
was
just
the one
no
guy on the
way.
team who almost never had the benefit of playing with Amari Williams.
That's true.
And why? Because
But
they
he,
play the
but I
same
mean, he
spot?
won't next year
I mean,
anyway.
But
Like
do you
the
really?
chief playmaker on offense wasn't really on the floor with Brandon Garrison at any point. Do you think that would have a large effect?
Do I think playing Amari Williams and Brandon Garrison would have helped Brandon Garrison's production? Absolutely not. No.
No, I'm saying a
Oh.
playmaker of the caliber of Amari Williams.
Uh-huh.
Brandon Garrison did not get the benefit of that.
I'm saying if he played with Amari Williams last year, would it have been better? No, I don't think so. I don't think that
No,
helps him
I'm
at
not
all.
saying that. I'm saying
Okay, anybody insert a playmaker then.
Hold on.
Well,
Let me
put a
finish my
playmaking
point.
four in there. Do you
Playmaking
think
four with
BG
BG,
does-
he's the same player. I don't
Or
think it
even a
changes anything.
playmaker of Amari's caliber at the one. I like Lamont, but he wasn't making plays like that. We're not running.
You're not going to
the
tell me
ball
Lamont's
through
not a
Lamont.
playmaking point guard.
What?
Lamont's not a playmaking point guard?
Not
Not
like
not
that. I
with
mean,
the system that we run.
it-
No.
For the system Pope runs, that's as many assists you're going to get out of a point guard, truthfully, because you're going to have the center playing the top of the key, like Ali Khalifa or Amari Williams did. Like it's what he plays. The point guard doesn't. Dallin Hall didn't average enough assists for BYU. Don't know how Jaeger would have done, or if he'd even been there. Pope was there. Point is
that
Well,
everybody
yeah.
else, let me finish. Everybody else got to have their turn with Amari Williams and running the offense through him, except for Brandon Garrison. And I think that would play a large part in his effectiveness. No?
I don't think so at all. No.
Okay.
I-
so we would be
I
better off
think
with
that-
the best playmaker on the team. I agree.
Yeah, I think that he. Well, I tried to say that, and he said no, not Amari, but at point guard, like a hypothetical. I think that
An
he played with
equivalent
guys that can
playmaker. I
distribute.
never said an equivalent playmaking center.
Well, you said an equivalent playmaker, right? I didn't know. That
Yes,
it was, I
we
thought,
agree. We agree. That's what I said.
Okay, I do not. Do I think that it helps Brandon not blow layups, miss rebounds, miss time jumps, have bad footwork? No, I don't think a playmaking point guard or anybody helps that. I think development in the offseason might, but I also think we're in a win now mode where you can't take 3 years to develop a guy who's going to be heavily relied on to win a championship. And if
I
Pope
think
doesn't do that in the first 5 years, do
center spot though.
you think he wants to be backup center spot?
I think he's going to have to be.
Not here.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see how we play this as JQ gets healthy and is able to play, and whether we really have sort of two totally different teams before that happens and after that happens.
You think he'll miss time? I think he started. I think he's there week one.
I don't know. I listened to him on KSR earlier, and he said he thought he was sort of trending towards a September return date. Not sure if that means like return to practice or return to like full go or what.
His dad said he would be ready to play the game one, but I don't know if his dad's
I-
pulling smoke. So.
I'll also say I don't know that either JQ or JQ's dad are the most reliable source in the middle
Just
of a recruitment where papers may or may not
basically,
be signed at this
Sure,
point.
6
in
months
terms of
being
when he's
the
going to return.
indicator. 6 months being the average indicator for an ACL tear with high level surgery. So that would be September. So I kind of get where they're coming from. I mean, I look. I know everyone loves Brandon Garrison, and that's fine. But you know, he's Aubin Gadaretzi with a little more athleticism. Let's be real.
Can Gadaretzi spread the floor?
He could probably shoot 30% if he took 23s wide open. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I know Pope agrees with you, but I don't see it. I
Well,
really
I
didn't see
don't
the
know.
improvement.
What
I
backup
did-
center that Kentucky could get that would be better than Brandon Garrison? Maybe not
I,
Marino.
I don't not. It's not that I want Brandon Garrison not to be our backup center, but we're talking about him like as if he would have been so much better had he played with the ones. Do backups play with the ones? Just out of curiosity. No.
Fair
so
enough.
I don't. So I don't see how he. I mean, he's going to average 4. I don't know.
I also said a couple weeks ago on a pod that I didn't know how confident I was rolling into the season with BG at the 5 if we're asking him to be Amari. I don't think that's a skill set. I don't think he's going to excel in that role. But also, I said last time we did this that as I was sort of filtering through looking at the Division I players that kind of emulated Amari. You know, we set a lower bound on rebounding percentage, lower bound on assist percentage, lower bound on height, who's left. There were like 6 options, and BG was one of them. And that's, I mean, Amari was just so special. I don't think there's a ton of options for replacing that kind of productivity and that skill set. He was excellent at what he did. And so I don't know that it's fair to compare BG to him, but I also don't know.
Do you want BG in the Andrew Carr spot? Is that what we're talking then?
That's crazy to me. I think BG's a 5.
Okay, but what I'm
crazy.
saying
Well,
is if he's not
think
going to play the
he's a
5 like
4.
Amari does, right? Then we're not going to put him in that position. The 5 plays that spot in Pope's offense. The zoom
Look,
action up top. I mean,
You can't switch that to the 4 though.
sure. If you really want, if BG is that
Especially
generationally
with
talented, that we need
BG
to
being
change the
able to
whole
shoot a little.
goddamn offense. Okay, yep.
I think
I
if
just
anyone,
don't see it.
if anyone remembers back to the offense like a video game video that got us all pumped about Pope in the first place, they talked about how good he was at developing his offense to work with the personnel he has available, specifically how things changed when they played Khalifa versus Traore. And because Khalifa could shoot and Traore couldn't at all. So I do think that there is some ability for Pope to figure out how to make this work. And it sounds like
Of
that's what he
course.
wants to do. I mean, we've heard from the beginning that he was ready to roll with BG.
He
in this
believes in
position.
BG.
No, I believe in Pope, who believes in BG.
No, that's what I'm saying. He believes in
And Pope
BG,
is the one
and
we're
that's the
holding
reason
accountable
that
here.
100% the reason I like default to him. Like I'm probably wrong. I just don't see it. I didn't see anything that would make me confident with that guy playing major minutes that we would be. Because I mean, okay, if everyone wants to talk about how much they love BG, I got 1,000 tweets about people bitching the second he would come in the game every single time for the last 12 games of the year. And everybody wants
Fair.
to keep BG. So I mean,
No, yeah.
I get what you're saying. I just there's this is like a business now, right? It's money, it's production, it's a pro sport, and
I
I
just
don't
wanna
know
make
that I
sure-
need my. Go ahead.
Can we make sure that we're all on the same page here? I don't think any of us are thinking that BG should start over a healthy Jaden Quaintance, right?
Not out of the 3 of us. No,
I think we all agree on that.
agreed.
So I believe it's perfectly reasonable that a good Kentucky team could have Brandon Garrison as their backup center, and we'd still be a good team.
Ideally,
we'd
he'd
still be
be. I just
very
don't
good.
see that being what he wants to do. I don't
guess
see
he
him
could-
wanting to boom a backup. I
So
don't
would
know.
you think that he enters the portal then?
I think so.
Okay, I can live with that.
Well, and
feel like we all
I'll
agree with
say to
that.
that. I'll say to that the same thing I said to the people who were wishing Travis Perry away. You can
Ooh,
kick him off
different.
the team when. Well, no, definitely different. But this holds true still. You can kick him
Okay.
off the team when you find me somebody better.
I think he may kick himself off the team. If by the way, that I think that's.
I'm
what
not saying
Brady's
somebody
doing.
better. I'm saying enough better guys for NTP's case.
I always say that
he
don't
is
fire a coach
no
until you have somebody
better.
better lined up. But
Yeah, right.
same. So I get what you're saying. And again, I stand for BG a lot last season. He got a lot of hate, and especially in the beginning. I really want it to be good, but when we have the ability to add guys, and I'm not saying he's not going to be a piece, but I'm saying it's still in flux. Like I mean, hell, Ortega always not necessarily for sure 100% coming back yet. He gets
Yeah.
a good draft grade, he might be gone. Like we might have
For
to like pivot and stuff. You know, I want BG here. I think he has the potential. I just don't think you can develop that at the rate you're going to need to keep him around and make it worth your investment in him with the guys you have coming in and the limited play time he's going to get. Because what are we going to say next year? Well, he didn't get to play at the starters. You know, we had JQ, we had this guy, we had that. When he plays the starters, he's real good. He's not going to play the starters all that much, I don't think. Anyways, and I just think that maybe he goes. I mean, he would. I think he'd crush at like even like a Cincinnati, like Kurt of Cincinnati or something like that. You know what I mean? I think he'd do really, really well in something like that. But the SEC feels like it's going to be daunting because it was daunting for him at times this year.
A couple of the comments real quick. Moreno will
Yeah.
take time. Every big does. I'm worried if we rely on him to be a contributor. He looked really good in the McDonald's All-American game, which was encouraging because all we've heard all year is that he's playing 5'0" dwarfs from the state of Kentucky, and to see him show out against good competition was awesome. I didn't love how they did the lineups in that game because the rotations rather. It was just like every 5 minutes they did a platoon change, and I would have liked to have seen him against more people. But I was encouraged by that. Still, I would also be worried if we went in with him as our only option at the 5, if no BG, if not yet healthy JQ. but I really, really was happy to see Moreno do as well as he did. Nobody said Moreno or Diabate could play the 5. Diabate is interesting. We haven't talked about him yet. He is, I think, really talented. Some of you may not know. I went to Alabama too, so I follow their sports pretty closely. He a little undersized for the 5, but man, the dude hustles. He rebounds well. He boxes out well, positions himself well. I don't know if I like him at the 5. I think you kind of get crushed with a 6'7" guy in the post in the SEC, but definitely I think he's super versatile and able to fill in some of these gaps.
6'7" post guy in the SEC, and not liking that is Chuck Hayes' erasure, and I will not stand for it.
In 2025, I'll
There's a
add a
caveat there.
qualifier here.
Lando said if BG isn't good enough to get drafted next year, don't let him come back for seniors. It means he's not good enough. If BG gets drafted, bro, come on, that's just what I'm talking about. Like, he's average. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I agree for sure. If he's not good enough to get drafted, send him
You
back.
think that
There
our
you go.
backup center is going to get drafted?
There you go. This is my thing. Is
Dude, I think our 3rd string center is going to get drafted.
I
listen, he's
think
gonna get draft raise.
much likely our 3rd string center gets drafted, actually.
I really think that Colin Chandler is actually going to surprise a lot of people next year. Like he's going to be really good. I think he's going to. A lot of people saying he's going to go in somewhere. I'd be stunned if that's the one guy I would like put the farm on being here next year. Like that dude is a Pope guy through and through. It'd take a real big rift for that not to happen. But everyone has questions about BG. Y'all love BG so much.
Yeah, Boogeyman.
Boogeyman.
I agree with that.
Boogeyman.
I said the same thing. I'll default to him. I hope to be wrong. I really do. But like, I have eyes too, and that's what they tell me. His eyes say something different. He's the one being paid millions of dollars to coach the Cats. I'm not. So let's go ride with him. I'm good with it. I just don't see it as like an argument. I've had the dumbest argument over the last 2 days about Brandon Garrison. Like he's great, but I've never seen somebody that averaged 4 points have so many stands just to absolutely just go to work for him.
JJ and Pawpaw 2020 says, is anyone here familiar with Jacob Meyer and Max Green? I think they would make good bench additions.
Jacob
we gotta
Meyer,
let the
I'm
Max
not.
Green dream die. We got to let the Max Green dream die.
I think we maybe let the Max Green dream die this year, unless we find ourselves sort of at the end of the portal. He hasn't found a home yet, and we still want a shooter. I think he's talented. Shout out Oldham County High School.
BG.
I think he did super well at Holy Cross. Definitely they relied on him more than I thought they would, and he looked pretty good. But also I think his defense, not a strong suit. And one thing I talk about kind of often is that not all schools that aren't high majors are created equally, or not all conferences that aren't high majors are created equally. And for example, we're talking about Jaron Pierre Jr. from Jacksonville State. Well, he's in Conference USA, which is a top 10 conference. And
is it really?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Holy smokes! I was about to have so much shit.
And Jacksonville State came in second in that conference. I'm much less concerned about.
There are way too many D1 teams.
That translation, yeah, there are too many conferences. I'm much less concerned about that translation up than I am about Max Green coming from Holy Cross in the Patriot League, where they were like the worst team in the Patriot League, and the Patriot League is 27 out of 31 in terms of conference strength. So
I
I
had
think
no idea.
there's a huge gap there in the level of competition that they faced.
Here's a question to ask yourself when considering if Kentucky should take Max Green. If he was not from Kentucky, would you want him on the team?
That's not logic. Doesn't work here. But yeah.
I'll give a little bit of credit for Kentucky, because I mean I think that to some extent that does buy you some loyalty. For example, like if Travis Perry wasn't from Kentucky and didn't grow up loving this team, would he be gone in a heartbeat?
Yeah. According to
so
Big Blue Nation, absolutely.
And so I think that there is some value there, but I do think not enough. Yeah. And if Max Green transfers up, balls out again, absolutely bring him on.
I'm sure he'd want to. We can afford to wait on Max Green. I want to maximize our championship window every season, and I think you do that by getting the best players possible for your team each season.
Absolutely. I was going to say with the development point I said earlier, like it'd be great to hang on to guys multiple years, but it's a total merchant league. Just get the best guys in your team, win this year. That's it. Like, period. Like, I mean, damn near pulled it off last year if we didn't have the brittlest of bones, you know?
So true. Moving on to, I know we've touched on JQ a bunch. I know we just touched on diabetes.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. Is it Jalen Lowe? I've only read his name. I can't say I'm familiar with
Jaron. Oh, Jalen, yeah.
Jalen Lowe.
Like Jalen with a D.
Okay. Jalen Lowe. I like his film. It seems that he was on a Pitt team that was just absolute cheeks. And he was option 1A. And just not a very good Pitt team, but I think he's a player with a lot of potential. And he seems like one of those where you look at his stats and they'll sort of tell you whatever you want the takeaway to be from looking at him is what it can be. So he can either be not good or just very underrated, depending on what you see. I will defer to trusting the coaching staff on this one.
Do you remember last year when we were talking about Drake Allen to Utah State from Utah Valley, how he had really, really inefficient stats, like pretty bad across the board. Everything was bad, but I was super hyped on the fact that he played with a real not great Utah Valley team. I feel this is the big league version of that, where this kid's going to come in and like finally have the facilities and the teammates and things to distribute and to be able to, because a guy can get that kind of production with not great spacing with teammates that aren't winning games, obviously not as big of a threat. Like imagine what he's going to get when he's got a JQ over there, or what what I'm saying, like when they've got guys you can't sag off of. I think it's this is the kind of kid that I hear some things about his he wants a little money, but who doesn't want a little more money? He got paid. He's going to play out. I think he's going to end up being a really, really good player.
Yeah, I think an important thing about him is you've got to look at his freshman year too. So people are down. We want a shooter, and he shot 26% from three. Well, his usage was incredibly high. He did everything for this team. He had to take bad shots. Pitt was just awful this year. He was a 35% three-point shooter his freshman year. People always look at free throw rate as sort of a proxy for can we fix this guy's shot, whatever. He's an 88.5% free throw shooter this year, 85.5 last year. Dude's a stud. Also important, 30.8% assist rate. Highest on our team this year was Lamont at 26.5.
Wow, that's massive.
Amari at 23.5. So dude can pass. He's fast. He drives well. I'd like to see him finish at the rim a little better. I'd like to see him take fewer mid-range shots, but I think those are things that can come with the system and maybe not having a total inept offense around you.
So nobody says that BG could be a 4 easy on offense, sure, but can he defend the 4? Can he laterally move like this? I don't know why I keep.
I actually think he did all right. Whenever he and Amari were in together, I think he did all right switching in and defending smaller guys. Somebody said earlier, best defensive play of the season for him was playing alongside Amari in the Oklahoma game. Absolutely true. If we could defend every possession like we did that last possession of the Oklahoma game, we'd never lose a game again. That was awesome. We had 3 guys all elevating to block that shot at the end. We need more of that.
You knew where it was going, though, is the other caveat to that. And I think that there's a lot of BG getting beat backdoor as a 4, lateral. Again, I don't want to be the hater, but like the film says what it says. He got cooked a lot in SEC play by. He's good on, honestly, perimeter defense, pretty good for a big guy. Low post defense, not as good.
For sure.
I like him, but I think that this is. He's really good for what I want him in the backup role. I just don't think that's what he's destined for in his mind. It is Brandon Garrison time. So,
as I do every time we talk about this, I think about I don't remember which game it was. One of the Alabama games, maybe, I don't know, where he got a rebound, took off down the court with it, and everyone watching just knew, like, yep, he's going to try to go coast to coast, and he made it to about the free throw line. Defense beat him back, didn't go well, could have passed. And I think that's like the bad side of BG, but also I think there are some highlights that we ignore when we say
BG is JaVale McGee.
BG
bro.
sucks at everything.
BG and JaVale McGee is like his ceiling. That's his comp. It has to be. There's no way that it's
I
anyone else.
remember-
That's who it's got to be.
I remember the Nick Richards experience where it was a player who was much
Thanks,
worse than what Brandon Garrison was last year. And Nick Richards was worse for 2 straight seasons and then proceeded to be the best player on that Kentucky team his junior year. And that
How'd
was
that
with
team
John
do?
Calipari coaching him. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we see a player who is, I would say, could we agree that it was 50-50 on whether BG was making a great play or asking like, what is this guy doing on the floor?
1 out of 5 times, I would say he'd be
That's
like,
crazy.
"Whoa, great!" It's not. I'll cut up the film. It's dude. He look. I love the highlight plays and he's got sweat. He's a dog. He talks a lot of shit. I love that. I love his energy. But bro, he would miss rebounds when guards would box him out and he'd just mistime his jump, or he'd be sailing to the moon on a pump fake. Like, I love the guy, but like there's a lot to be desired in this game. Like, I don't want to be a hater, but like I can't in good conscience say I know how to watch basketball and say that he's a future 5
I don't
for
want
us
to be a
as
hater,
starter.
but I do hate him. is
But I
what
want
Braden
to tell the
saying.
truth. But I want to tell the truth.
I'm
That's
not
what it
saying
is.
like we run the team through him or even start him, but I guess our contention is I don't think any of us are arguing that he should be our starting 5.
No, I'm
But-
saying I just don't think he's going to want to commit to that role. If he does, then I'll buy a BG jersey. I'll wear it every episode the whole season. If he commits to being our backup and developing, I'll start the fan club. I'll head the fan club. I'll get a tattoo with BG. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. I'm just saying in the role that he's going to want to play, it's not going to be the one he's going to have here.
Okay. I
Peanut
just wanna
butter
make sure we're-
posse. It
we're
took
all
me
on the
until
same page.
now to read your name. Been trying to figure out what that said since we started. But are there any? Is there real smoke to the Cal to the Nuggets rumors?
I love
Probably
that.
not. I don't know. Maybe.
It's
Why'd
not
they
an
fire
off-season
Malone,
until
dude? That's
Calipari
crazy.
gets an NBA rumor around him. So
Yeah.
Let it happen,
I don't-
please. Let it
don't-
happen.
I think at this point in time, just about everyone recognizes that Cal's strong suit is recruiting, which he won't have an opportunity to do, and his weak point is on the court coaching, which is all he'll be able to do
Used
in
to
the
be recruiting.
NBA.
I would love to watch Cal coach Jokic. Him just saying like, get your ass in the post.
That's
You're
the
shooting
best.
twos.
That's the
Post
best
now.
coach that Jokic needs. Say go, and he'll just do it because he knows what to do already. So it'd be a match made in heaven. That's probably what they're trying to do.
My buddy Justin here says Penny to Denver has smoke. That might be worse than Cal.
That would be. Please God, let that happen. Please let that happen. If they fired Mike Malone for Penny Hardaway, whoever is involved in that organization needs to be shut. They give him back to Seattle. That's insane. Oaks to Denver is
Jokic
not
player
heating up.
coach.
That'd be great though. Jokic would be a better player coach, I think. Penny
If
would be all we
you-
have at home.
If you want us to talk about Cam Williams, also a stud. He's another guy. Tulane is in the American Athletic Conference, which is
The toy poodle.
just outside the top 10, but also one of the better of the non-high major conferences. And Tulane
no
was
Mountain West,
among the
but-
top teams in there. And you're right, he can shoot it. He 40% from 3 on 3/4 of Kobe Bryant volume. I mean, he shot quite a bit, made a lot. He's also a fantastic cutter, which is going to be huge in this offense. I think he can probably play 2, 3, maybe some 4, maybe a little thin at the 4, but he's a good defender. Awesome pickup, man.
I love that he committed right out the shoot too. He was like, "No, I'm number one. Get it. Let's go." He just jumped on it immediately. I love guys like that want to be here, and that was one of my favorite things. Like who was first last year? Was it Lamont or who was the first commit?
Amari.
Well,
Well, I
Amari.
don't know if we count Colin Chandler, but Amari.
Right.
They had that big day at Keeneland.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But then they went like Secret Service style and just like flew to San Diego and picked Lamont up before anyone even knew, right? Like that one was out of nowhere.
we thought that was Jalen Wells. I think we were tracking the plane and thought that was Jalen Wells out of Washington State, who ended up staying in the draft. Would have been an awesome pickup, but hey, so was Lamont.
I got a Cam Williams take, but before I go to that, I just wanted to ask everybody if you can please like the stream and subscribe. We are doing a drunk stream at 500. It was Ben's idea. Ben's really gung-ho about it.
He really wants to get shitty on Cam, so let's have him, get it to him. He's been modding in the burner. It's been a really tough time for him, so let him let loose on stream. Really like to get that mustache little, ride. So here we go.
Bonionism. What is he saying? Bomunism? I can't even say.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I think you do.
So Cam Williams, I love the addition. I think of any guy that we've gotten in the portal so far, I think he's my favorite get, because I think Cam Williams has the potential to be our best player come March next season. I really do believe that. The ceiling on him might be the highest one on the team, and that's including JQ. Like I'm a big Cam Williams believer. I thought you guys would have more thoughts.
I think specifically that the thing that's going to make the fan base love him, in addition to his play, which I think is going to be really exciting, is that he committed so soon, no pressure. It sounded like totally caught the staff off guard that he was ready to go so quickly. And he said, "I know it's Kentucky. I want to be there. There are guys going to be lining up for this spot, and I want to make sure I have it." I think that's awesome. That's what you want to hear as a fan. Especially in this NIL era, when it seems like people are delaying and playing games and trying to drive the price up and whatever, it is so. And I think that's kind of fun to follow too. Like, it sucks when it's your team that's having that done to them, but it is pretty interesting. But to have a guy say, like, this is where I want to play and I know it and I'm committing now is awesome.
Very true. I saw a comment earlier from our boy Troll Spivey that I wanted to go ahead and talk about.
Yeah, what was that comment there? Go ahead and
No. It wasn't when he was encouraging everybody to boo you. I think it's when he was talking about the Indiana guy and Alvaro saying get them and we're good to go. I think here we go. Is it Mbako? I don't know. I'm proving to everyone that I'm an idiot. And Fulgaris, and we ride. I think it's safe to say I think we're out on both, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I really liked Fulgaris. I think when you were talking about what if we had another suitable playmaker to play with BG, that's where my mind went. I think he's awesome. I think he is good at that. He shoots well. He's like a better shooting, more athletic Andrew Carr who passes better.
Yeah,
I think he would have been perfect in that role. I can't see him coming now, unfortunately, but to the extent BG decides we don't have the role he wants either, that's first guy I'm calling for sure. I think rumor is Providence and maybe Tennessee are in for him.
I'm hearing the same, but I think that's because we have the same sources.
Yeah,
probably I haven't heard anything because I don't pay enough attention, but I believe you guys. So
do we want to just go rapid fire through the chat to close this bad boy out, or do we have any remaining thoughts on where we are? Braden, did you want to go off on anybody for any past dooming or future dooming that they may do?
Not just no, because I've wasted so much of my life trying to make it so that doesn't happen. It falls on deaf ears every single time, and then I just hate BG because I'm being honest about things. But that's okay. No, he's the greatest center to ever play basketball. I can't wait to have him here. Still, that's awesome. Go BG. But no, I Trill Spivey, appreciate all the shout outs, big dog. All the
Mackenzie wants to know what we think about the lineups, and I don't know. I think just how we see them unfolding. I think that'll be a challenge for us to predict. So it's sort of like last year. Last year we really didn't know. I mean, a lot of people didn't have Ortega in their starting lineup. Everyone had Brea in their starting lineup. People thought Jackson would come off the bench again. Even though we're not even though we're not a totally new team, I think outside of Ortega, just about everyone that's going to be starting will be new. Maybe BG at the beginning. I don't know. And like I said earlier, I think it's possible we see a totally different team after JQ gets healthy, and different, not just different at that position, but different players may work better off of him than others. So who knows?
Where did all the smoke? It was JJ and Pop. I said, where did all the smoke about the Braden guy from Purdue come from? Didn't we hear that like that was pretty active, and then like we didn't want to talk to his agent more, and then it kind of just died. And then, I mean, that's what we heard, right? Like it
Yeah,
didn't
I don't
go
know.
anywhere from there. I don't know. I mean, well, there was smoke there. We were after him though for a little bit, weren't we?
I think so. I mean, it seems like we were in touch with his agent. There was definite smoke. Again, it's tough to know how much of that is trying to drive up the price for Purdue versus how much of that is legitimate interest in leaving. So I don't know.
Louisville thinks they have the better team right now. Okay, all right, yeah.
Well, they spent all their cash in the first few days, so let them think that.
That's
They're
fine.
still
They
be
can.
running out there with Ali Khalifa next year, so we'll.
Dog, here's the thing. Al Khalifa's like a good dude, but like he's the Egyptian statue for a reason, brother. Like my guy can distribute a little bit, but he,
Now, I will say shouts to him. He looks like he took this season and got in shape.
they paid him pretty well to do so.
In,
So I
in,
hope so.
in the one photo I've seen of him, still photo, not moving. So
Which, given how Louisville takes photos, remember their team photo? It's not guaranteed they're gonna have any good photos. That team photo was
That's
so bad.
true
That was
that.
such a funny
that.
thing.
Interesting one here from Peanut Butter Posse. Are the freshmen going to be satisfied with their roles?
The
I think
freshmen are
Lewis,
like-
yes. I think Moreno, I think that he's going to get a run early in the season, especially with the JQ coming back from an injury. I think they're going to take their time ramping up for him. I think the one question is Jasper, of whether Jasper is going to be our starting two or not. I think that would also kind of factor into our lineups question because, yeah, all of us last year when the first game of the season came around, we went, Kobe Bryant's not starting. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jasper started next year, but he'd be the only one who I think might cause some concern with their role.
Yeah. And the other thing is I feel like, I mean, we've heard Pope's lost out on guys for not being willing to make promises.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you've heard how he speaks to the team, you've heard how he speaks about the team. I'm sure that as far as coaches go, he's incredibly honest with them about his expectations and who he's bringing in and how they're going to fit and how he intends to play them. So I hope so. I mean, I think that's one of the things I appreciate about him. And so I hope so. I also hope that it's kind of a situation of them being good enough that they force him to play them the minutes they deserve. I mean, Jasper, OTE is just a garbage product. It was awful to watch. But I watched quite a bit of it because I wanted to see Jasper, and he looks very, very good. And so it wouldn't surprise me if, I mean, I know they say, was it Jordan Burks who was the leading scorer for a couple of years on it? That's not a great sign. But I also think that Jasper looked pretty good.
Just a few more to close this out. Our boy Boogeyman says, "Do we think Pierre is still on the table, or did we move on from him?" I think you got to ask the local women of Lexington, Kentucky. That I think the ball is really in their court there, according to his Instagram follows. So we just got to root for the ladies of Lex to really pull through for us there to bring Pierre home.
We need the baddies on the sidelines. We need them in the recruiting. Like we can't just have you showing up game day. We got to have you out there. You know, we get that kid here. We're going number 9 immediately. We don't need him, man. He's a bag chaser. I'm a bag chaser. You don't like me?
Yeah, I don't like
JJ
the phrase "bag chaser" around these players. Like, what
do you want to get less money because I'm such a nice guy?
You pay me the right amount of dollars and cents, and I'm throwing up the L's and saying "Go Cards."
Oh man, I don't know.
It had to be a lot of money, but
Doug, you pay me $1 million,
JJ
and I'll go stands for BYU for a year, and you know how much I hate them. I'll go no buns for a whole year. I'll preach the gospel. Don't worry about it.
nobody's
JJ and Papa wants to know why would we want Amen if we already have Moreno? I do think
depth.
we're probably out on Amen at this point. And if you watch the McDonald's All-American game or the scrimmage, I think that's totally fine with you probably.
Same with
Didn't
Cowboys.
look bad, also didn't look like a factor. Dude's rail thin. He didn't shoot well. I know he can shoot. That's a pretty big part of his game. So he definitely could have looked better. I was surprised at how well he handled the ball, but yeah, I don't know that I think there's a ton of room for him on the team as it is now.
I agree, but I'm ready to switch up all of my opinions if he commits.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
No, he'd be so good if he
We will
convinced
go
me
back
that.
and edit
Otherwise,
out this 1 minute clip of me speaking negatively about him if he joins.
of course, yeah, Calculator says the same thing. You know what I mean?
A lot of Chuck Hayes comments in the chat right now that are bumming me out, talking about Chuck Hayes crying at senior night. That's personally upsetting. Hey guys, fun little thing here. I DM'd Keith Bogans to try to get him on the show. So hopefully that comes through, because that would be very cool. I've also DM'd Cam Williams, and he hasn't gotten
I
back to me.
DM'd his agent. I DM'd him. We'll get it going. We'll figure it out.
Any more clout? That's the problem.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Big Blue Nation gets stuff done. Weetabix did not want anything to do with that stupid NIL deal. And then, like, y'all were so annoying, they did it anyway. So, like, just tweet at some folks and be like, get on the Catechin. We would really appreciate it. Or don't, but, like, do. That'd be great. Or subscribe. One of the things. Let's get Ben drunk on stream. That's all I really want to see.
We have our Twitter linked below. If you could give us a follow there to help us get us more clout, in that way, maybe we can swing a little bit more in the Twitter DMs, or when we do our inevitable push in a month or two to have us guest host KSR this summer. That's all of my shilling for the night. Guys, do you have any closing thoughts before you wrap this thing up?
I don't hate BG. Stop dooming. Trust Pope. No one's gonna listen to me anyways. But go Cats.
I did want to say I got a little contentious tonight, and I wanted to remind you both that I love you both very much.
Love you
and
too,
if I were
buddy.
there right now, I'd hit you both on the forehead.
See, this is why we're in California. I'm in California and you're not. So, but I've missed that kiss on the forehead. I do wish that was happening. But no,
Y'all got
I
a
don't
tweet
think
from the Twitter. Okay.
Huh?
That's maybe a reasonable suggestion.
Or we don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
We have it.
Truthfully,
we have it.
Well,
that's the important thing.
Right. Consistency is key to what I do. So, gonna keep that up. Jared's getting blurry again. Time to go home.
Yeah, I know. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the Catechin. Come on.
For blurry Jared, for Ben, it's Braden in the Catechin. Bye, buddy.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.